Hello, and a warm welcome back to the TNC Podcast, and it's live. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. This is the TNC Podcast, sponsored by Lakens. Link in the description, 20% off. Drink it plentifully. Chris Reeve has just finished chatting to Don Robbie, and now he gets the delight of speaking to me. What a night you've had, Chris.
Mate.
No, that's the watch-alongs. That's the watch-alongs.
Mate, I'm live. Why not? Let's just do it. Let's bring back the Zombie Nation. Yeah, mate, I'm buzzing. Robbie was great value. Looking forward to that coming out tomorrow night at 5. Exclusively reveals where he stands with Mikel Arteta, depending on the Norwich results. So make sure you go and check that out. It's great to be live with you again, mate. Glorious.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It does always feel slightly emotional doing these because it does take me back to a time when we were doing the watch-alongs week in, week out. The world was a very scary place. Norwich were playing beautiful football. And we were just having a good time, weren't we?
Absolutely, we were. Great time. A memorable time. A time that will be locked and treasured forevermore. Bit of channel heritage, I think, mate, the old watch-alongs.
Absolutely. James T. I can't believe Don Robbie gets the honour of making YouTube videos with Chris Reeve. Well, look, it's nice for Chris to be able to speak with his fans. And I'm sure Don Robbie has hit a career height appearing on TNC. Not for the first time. He's been on before. He will be on again. He is a very good man, is our Robbie. And I'm sure he's looking forward to seeing his boys getting battered by Norwich at the weekend. A good evening to Churchy. Look at the profile picture.
Oh yes, Churchy. By the way, Churchy loves the beer. He's a top man, Churchy. Big up, Churchy. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Can I just say, by the way, but hang on, look at this. By the way, the people want it. Fabrizio will be on next. Look, maybe it's coming. Who knows? Can I just say, on a hot day like today, Jack, when in this sweltering humidity, this has never tasted so good. It's so good. It's so crisp. It's so cold, and it's flowing into me like a Timu Pukki winner against Arsenal at the weekend.
Absolutely. I tell you what I was watching earlier, Chris. I was watching back the highlights of Arsenal 3, Norwich City 3, when Steve Morrison scored. That was a good game, wasn't it? I'm hoping for similar scenes at the weekend, just a win as opposed to a draw this time.
Yeah, no, I win, mate. Come on. Where's your ambition?
Absolutely. Let's get some comments in then. Bailey Marshall's having a good time. Not going to put it on screen, but good evening, my friend. Good evening to Robson. Good evening to Lily. Hello to Mr. Testosterone. Toby Heath, straight in there. I reckon we beat Arsenal. It's as simple as that. Joel Spillman with some brilliant news. My local was serving Laken's Encore yesterday. Holy Jesus, yes. What a delight. And I tell you what, Joel, what a delight your lovely dog is as well. Absolutely wonderful. Lovely to see so many of you with us this evening.
Profile picture of the night so far, by the way.
Oh, really? Straight in there, early doors. From Joel.
Dog of the day, profile picture of the week. Boom, we're in.
Joel's on the double, early doors. Great to see all of you in here this evening. Chris, it's the international break. I must admit, as always, I'm desperately struggling to get up for it. Have you enjoyed the scenes?
What, the international break?
Yes.
Mate, what is it with you, right? And sharing innuendos literally barely any time.
No. That was a perfectly normal sentence. You just...
I mean, I'm not even repeating
it the wrong way.
I'm not repeating it because it'll be on the old no context. So I'm sure they'll use the clip of you saying that. Yeah, look, the international break is the international break, isn't it? It's boring as hell. No one really wants it. But saying that, I think it's probably come at a good time for Norwich, albeit also a good time for Arsenal, as I was speaking to Don Robbie about in our opposition preview out tomorrow at 5, by the way, if you've just joined. I think it will benefit both teams. I think Norwich needed a moment to get some breathing space, get the new lads back into the fold, and kind of settle in a little bit, because we've had an absolutely mental start. And look, I think Daniel Farke, as a consequence, will be targeting points at Arsenal on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. A big thanks to Jay with the super chat. Another dog of the day contender there. We'll get onto that shortly. It could be the several beers I've had, but I'm feeling good about this weekend. Keep up the great work. Thanks to Jay. As always, the super chats is an option. We never expect it. We always appreciate it. Chris, first of all, let's get to the big point here. Is that dog of the day, or is Joel still winning?
No, I think with no disrespect to Jay, I know he's done a super chat, but he can't buy his way to the award. It will remain with the previous entrant.
Okay, and lots of people, Chris, I'm sure we'll talk about it more in depth later, but lots of people very optimistic for this weekend against Arsenal.
Yeah, well, let's be careful because they've got some really, really good quality players, and they've got some players coming back from injury / COVID as well. Now, that can go one of two ways. Sometimes it takes, if a manager wants a set starting 11, his starting 11 for that season, sometimes it takes a wee while to gel. I think that will be the case for both Norwich and Arsenal, by the way. So again, it can go either way. Who knows on that front, mate? It's very much a 50-50.
Now, lots of discussion already creeping into the comment section, Chris, regarding the defensive pairing. Pugsley Brown, by the way, name of the day. Farke should start Kabak and Gibson. What's your opinion? Of course, Chris, as well as Kabak, we've got the likes of Matthias Norman, who we haven't seen play for Norwich City yet. A few new signings that could feature this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. As we said in the previous podcast, I wouldn't want to be in Daniel Farke's shoes. He's got problems. He's got selection problems in a good way all over the pitch, and I don't know who you drop to bring in the new boys. I don't. Even if you look in midfield, Jack, I think. Well, to be fair, I don't know what the latest is on the McLean injury, but even suggesting Matthias Norman for McLean, I don't know. There are just problems all over the park. Do you not start Todd to have Tzolis? Do you start with only one holding midfielder if you want to try and bring the game? There's some real tactical challenges for Daniel Farke to face head on going into this Arsenal game. And I think, Jack, we'll find out if we really are going to stick to our philosophy this season. And I hope we bring the game to Arsenal. I really hope we don't sit back. And to do that, we're going to have to start the new lads, which will be a very, very exciting thing. But what worries me, and I have absolutely no idea how Daniel Farke is going to pick. We've just signed Ozan Kabak, and he's got to drop Hanley or Gibson. Oh, and by the way, to throw into that straight away, Big Andy. I mean, let's start talking more about Big Andy. Let's put more respect on his name, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in more detail later on in this live pod, Jack.
Absolutely. And as James mentions here, Chris, Kabak's only played 60 minutes of football since the end of last season. He's had 0 preseason. I guess this is a factor, isn't it?
I didn't know that. That's a good shout for Jamie.
And it's difficult, though, isn't it, Chris? Because they have to get game time somehow. There's no friendlies to play them in anymore. It's either league football or cup football. I know we've got that game coming up against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, but they're going to have to get minutes somehow. Like, when do you throw them in the deep end? Because there's going to be a point when you've got to do that.
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to be useless on this channel for the next 3-4 weeks, Jack, because I don't know what Daniel Farke does in terms of team selection. I'm not really sure how he approaches it. All I want to see from whoever starts is passion. Get stuck in, assert your dominance on the game. Let's bring the game to the opposition, and let's try and, let's force saves from keeper. Let's shoot from distance. Let's have a really good go at trying to implement not just our style, Jack, but an upgraded style. This isn't the old Norwich City that came up to the Premier League last time. I was speaking to Turkish on AFTV preview, which will be on their channels before this, and they were saying how all of the people that they spoke to had Norwich to go down. And I think it's a lazy, cheap shot. And I think it's good for us that the expectation's not on. But at the same time, I do think there is going to be a healthy air of more expectation this season, Jack. We want to see an upgraded, we've certainly seen an upgraded team, but we need to now see upgraded performances. Of course, it's still early on in the season. We're only coming up against Arsenal, by the way, big club. And I know that they are where they are, but they can turn it on any time with the talent they've got.
I think I was speaking to an Arsenal fan today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Robbie said in your preview that you did with him Chris, but I was speaking to an Arsenal fan today, and he said he would have preferred this game coming up to be at Carrow Road because there's a potential here. If Arsenal don't start quick, let's say 20, 30 minutes in and they haven't scored.
Agreed.
The Emirates crowd are going to start to turn.
No, I'll say it as bluntly as this. If they don't score before 30 minutes, they're done. They're done. 100%. Like, I can't see Arsenal growing into the game.
Do you sense that Arsenal fans are already starting to turn, not only on Arteta, but the side?
No, I think that's why the 30-minute, and to be fair, I've said this for all of the games so far this season, Jack, so you'll be laughing, and I've probably said it on this channel loads as well. Just shut up shop in any way you can for the first 20, 25, 30 minutes. Get to that point in a game. You've got fighting chances as a newly promoted side. You'll be settled into the game. The opposition will start to be a bit nervy because you would have asserted your authority on the game, whether that be at home or away. So look, I think for me, going away to the Emirates, get through the first half an hour, stay solid at the back, and we'll be okay. What worries me, Jack, about coming up against Arsenal is their wide players. It's where we've been caught out on multiple occasions this season, that dangerous cutback, that unfortunate, unlucky deflection. That's where Norwich City really seriously need to wise up when they go into this Arsenal game, because Arsenal, I know they've been shit this season, but, they have got that ability to really hit us hard on the counter out wide. We've got to be careful there.
Absolutely, yeah. A warm welcome to everyone joining us this evening. This is the TNC Podcast, and you are watching live, unless you're watching later on. In that case, you're not watching live. Chris, I think we'll discuss Arsenal at length later on. Let's have a quick look at some of the Norwich players who've been in action over the international break. And Big Andy, who, by the way, that is now what he's referred to by not only us, but the football club, has been doing very well on international duty. And I think he's been overlooked in the discussions around the centre-back pairings because of the signing of Ozan Kabak. And, Gibson and Hanley have been there and they've kind of solidified their place. Is it the time now that we start talking seriously about the potential of Big Andy playing Premier League football?
Officially, yes. Absolutely, yes. And you know what, Jack? I mean this. I've always loved Big Andy. I've always enjoyed watching him play. I've always rated him. But the skeptic Norwich fan has gone, oh, it's too soon. He's not quite ready for it yet. And I've always had that in the back of my mind. I can forget that. I can absolutely forget that. Watching him play for Ireland, oh, mate, it's regardless of the plot. When you hear other fans, other journalists that aren't just in the Norwich City bubble sharing the plaudits that they did on Big Andy, I think it's a huge, huge plus for Norwich City. And to be honest with you, I think he's already better than Ben Godfrey. In terms of where Ben Godfrey was at when he was at Norwich. Okay. I think he's already better than what Ben Godfrey was at Norwich, in my opinion. And I know I'm biased towards Norwich players now, of course, but I'm so excited to see Big Andy. I really, really hope that he muscles his way into the team somehow. I think it'd be a brilliant addition. And one thing for sure, Jack, we've got a great chance at least in the league and cup competitions, because if Big Andy is playing every single game in those, I'm not sure how people are going to get past him.
It's interesting you mentioned Ben Godfrey there, because that's the player I think of when I look at Big Andy. And I don't necessarily like to make comparisons, but I think it's the athleticism and physicality with Big Andy that kind of already takes him a step up. He's a very different player to Gibson and Hanley. Both of them have an athletic ability, and you have to get to the Premier League as a centre-back. But I look at him and I think maybe not just yet, but give it a few months. Yeah. And I'm highlighting that. You do it in horse racing, don't you? You highlight a future race for your horse. I'm looking at that Liverpool game in the Carabao Cup, and I'm looking at that for Big Andy's opportunity. And look, Gibson and Hanley haven't set the world on fire in the first few games. There's been a few mistakes from both of them. You add in Ozan Kabak, and it suddenly makes it more difficult for Big Andy to get in the side. But I'm with you, Chris. I think there's a real opportunity for him this season.
Let's get excited about Big Andy. Let's seriously get excited. I think, as I said already, Jack, I think we all kind of thought he was good, but I'm not sure all of us would have said at the start of the season he's ready. He's ready. And I am so comfortable if we unfortunately have an injury to one of those 3 centre-backs you've mentioned there, Jack, Big Andy, I'm so comfortable with him playing in the Premier League against any opposition. I really am. You know, he played against Cristiano Ronaldo, for God's sake. You know, he's won all the plaudits, and rightly so. I'm really proud, and I'm so pleased. And by the way, kudos yet again to the football club for believing in the youth, for promoting from within, for having genuine hope and giving them genuine opportunities. I'm buzzing for Big Andy, and most importantly, I'm buzzing for our football club, Jack, because we've got there at least another 35 million pound prospect in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know we've shown a lot of James tonight, but he keeps coming up with valid points. If you throw Big Andy straight into the Premier League and it doesn't go well, it could kill his confidence. Double-edged sword. Look, James, I think I was of that mindset a couple of months ago, but I just look at the likes of Max Aarons and Todd Cantwell, Jamal Lewis, even like Jakob Sorensen and players like this to a certain extent, Ballymumba.
Yeah.
You have to throw them in the deep end at some point. And I think Big Andy knows his worth and his ability. And I think even if he was to be thrown in against Arsenal, for example, doubt it's going to happen, and they beat us 4-0, I don't think that knocks his confidence. I think he learns from that.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
think Norwich have got very good at, over the past few seasons, of looking at players they think are worthy. And look, Big Andy's been on the scene for a good few months now, and throwing them in when they think it's the right time. Max Aarons came on against Ipswich in an East Anglian derby, made his debut in arguably the biggest game in Norwich City's calendar. And that was fine. We were all saying, myself included, oh, that's a step up for this right back who's played a bit of youth football. It was the same with Cantwell, always a bit lightweight, can't quite make it. Same with Ballymumba, same with Jakob Sorensen.
Yeah. They'll be fine.
They find a way.
Mate, I don't think it will kill his confidence. I love your point there about learning. I think he'll learn very, very fast, and I think he'll take to the Premier League like a duck to water. I really do. I couldn't be more confident playing on the international stage, making his debut, and then playing the way he did, I believe, against Serbia as well. And the other night, I'm so impressed, and I'm buzzing that he's our boy. I really, really am.
Another player who kind of gets thrown into that category is a certain Adam Idah. Now, scored some important goals in the Championship last season, scored some big goals in pre-season. And clearly Norwich City, as a club, this is taking my opinion and Chris's opinion out.
Oh, Jack, you've muted yourself.
Am I still muted?
And now I can hear you.
Okay. What happened there? Norwich City clearly think highly of Adam Idah because, unlike Jordan Hugill, they've kept him at the football club. And when he came on against Leicester, Chris, I must admit, I thought, there's something added to his game that I wasn't seeing in the Championship. An extra yard of pace. Yes, he missed a big chance in that game that he should have at least got on target. I just looked at him and thought, this is a good option to have. And I think he might make an impact this season.
Finally, you're talking sense. I've been saying it for months. And everyone gave it oh no, I'd get Adam Idah out on loan. Oh yeah, I'd swap Adam Idah for this player. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I'm so pleased that you've finally realised his true potential, Jack. Always knew he was going to be that player this season. Always backed him. He's got what it takes as well, by the way. He really does. I think he's a great option off the bench in the Premier League. I really, really do. Another player that I'm so excited about. I know that he missed a big chance against Leicester and he'll be kicking himself because if he scores that, Jack, what a moment, what an entrance. But by the way, there'll be more of those opportunities. This is his breakthrough season, similar to Todd Cantwell last time in the Premier League. And I think Adam will do some damage to Premier League teams this season. I do. I think, yeah, all right, he is a wild card, but I like that. And again, let's take our opinion and our Norwich City glasses off, Jack. Adam Idah is winning the plaudits of respect, not us, not these idiots on Talk Norwich City. Respected, well-known journalists from Ireland are bigging up Adam Idah. And again, he is a player that now demands more respect than he's got. I'm so excited for Adam Idah, and I'm really, really happy that he'll be knocking on Daniel Farke's door this season.
Absolutely. Let us know what you think of them two players, Matt Gregory, Big Andy, the Irish Yaps.
I love it.
Absolutely. Churchy says, Adamida needs goals, always looks bright, but needs goals. Yeah, look, and I think for a striker, it's really difficult because unless you get regular game time, it's so difficult to get into that rhythm. Am I saying Adamida should start ahead of Pukki and Sargent? No, but I think he's an option off the bench. And I think he's an option. Yeah, no, I know.
And that's fine. And there's this whole big thing, and I said it last time on the pod, Jack. There's this whole thing about dropping players and who's better than the other person. It's a long season, and a squad will survive in the Premier League, not a starting 11. We learned that last time, Jack. We had a starting 11 that I still believe had what it took to do better than they did. But off the bench, the quality wasn't there. This season, we have got Premier League quality. And it's okay. If Adam's on the bench, that's okay. He'll be wanting to start, of course, but he'll be buzzing. I think he'll be buzzing. And I think that, as you've said about Big Andy, Jack, he'll understand where he's at and his role this season. And I'm excited to see his development. I really, really am.
A player who we might get to see this weekend, and we didn't against Leicester, is Christos Tzolis. Chris, yes. He's been. Yes. I think they said he's in training and he's pretty much good to go for this weekend. Mm-hmm. That was the player I thought we were really lacking against Leicester. A little bit of pace, a little bit of oomph, and I think we could have got something against Leicester. I don't know what you think, but for me, Tzolis starts on Saturday.
Wow. Straight into the mix?
Yeah, I think he starts.
Mate, I'm so up for it. I am. I'm Tzolis's biggest fanboy, I think. I absolutely love the guy already. He's not even played a league start for us. So, yeah, I want to start him, but at the same time, I really don't want to drop Todd Cantwell, particularly against Arsenal, by the way. I think that he'll be able to pull the strings. But then, of course, you've got Billy Gilmour to fit in, and the list goes on. So I have no idea what's going to happen there. By the way, what I do want to say is I'm gonna plug the Tzolis lottery, which is of course something that I tried to start on. I did start on Twitter ahead of the Leicester game. Unfortunately, he didn't start. If people want to join in again, if Tzolis starts against Arsenal, all you need to do is hashtag Tzolis lottery on Twitter, tag Big C, and confirm the amount of money that you will pledge to our official charity partner of the season, Big C, if Tzolis scores. It's called the lottery. It's a bit of fun, something to get behind Christos Tzolis for. And my pledge is carried over. I'll be donating £100 to the Big C if Tzolis scores against Arsenal. So fingers crossed he starts.
Absolutely. Let's get the thoughts of Finn. Sorry, Chris, but you're too patriotic. Gibbo's been poor, and you think we should drop Hanley. Krul has been a bit sluggish and lazy in trying. Kabak must start. Gunn, not so sure.
Okay, so let's break that down. Let's break it down, Jack.
Okay, so let's start with Gibson. Finn saying should be dropped.
I don't think you can say Gibson's been poor. I think that's really harsh, considering the teams that we played against, Jack. Now, if we'd started the season against Southampton, Burnley, and Newcastle, and we'd conceded the amount of goals we'd conceded, and we'd made the mistakes that we'd made, I would agree with you, Finn. I totally agree. But I can't agree with you because of the start that we've had. I think that would be very, very harsh on Gibson. And I'm not. And this is the thing that I've always stood by. And Jack tried to get it out of me last time on the pod, Finn. I refuse to say drop X, drop Y, because people that are saying drop Grant Hanley, he looked like a prime Maldini for Scotland the other night. You can't drop Grant Hanley, surely.
Chris I'd look good in that Scotland squad. Come on.
Oh no, mate. I think yeah. So look, I don't know who we dropped. I don't know who we dropped there.
The Krul one's an interesting one because I know you're Angus Gunn's biggest fan. There's going to be no one in the comments who likes Angus Gunn bigger than Chris. No, not for you.
Krul could have. I think again we've played who we played. There was, I can't remember whether it was the goal against Liverpool where it took that wicked deflection, but did go into the centre of the net. I think Tim himself will be disappointed that he didn't get to that one. But I don't think Tim Krul has been sluggish at all. And for me, despite obviously being buds with AG, Tim Krul's the number one and will be for a long time. I think it's going to take a lot for him to be dropped. I think he's the experienced goalkeeper that we need.
I mean, interesting. Well, Finn, just to reply, he says fair enough, but 0 points on the board when there should be at least one.
There should be three. There should be three, Finn. We absolutely. I'm not accepting from people that we could have got a draw against Leicester. I think it's negative. We should have won that game. We had the chances to win it. So yeah, we should have had 3 points. And I'm not. I know I've got my yellow and green glasses on, but we absolutely should have 3 points on the board by now.
Now, we've talked about the attack. We've talked about the defence and the goalkeeper. What we haven't talked about is the midfield. And there's a lot of talk coming in the comments, Chris, for a certain man. And that man is Matthias Norman. Ash Bootle says Norman has to start. Tom Williams says Norman is going to be the glue that holds the whole team together against Arsenal. Has to have a good game. Look,
I want it so bad.
It looks likely, doesn't it? Because if the reports are correct, Kenny McLean's going to miss out from this weekend, which opens up a space. Matthias Norman comes in with a lot of excitement. We've been needing that CDM.
Yeah.
Surely starts.
This is one thing that I do not want.
Could it happen, though?
Yeah, of course it could. Of course it could. It's Daniel
You're starting to turn a bit. You used to be one of Lucas Roop's biggest fans, and now you're starting to see the light.
No, mate. Lucas is a very important squad player, but shouldn't be starting when we've signed Matthias Norman. There's absolutely there's
what's a squad player? Because that sounds like to me you're saying, well, he's not good enough for the actual team, but we'll put on squad players so we don't offend anyone.
I think that's a bit of bait on your fishing rod, and I'm not going to nibble on it, Jack, and I'll politely move on. We should start Matthias Norman. He is the missing piece to our jigsaw puzzle. He's aggressive, great passer of the ball. I'm sure every Norwich fan has watched the Instagram story he shared of his shooting practice for Norway. If you've not, go and check it out. I'm sure it's on Twitter somewhere. Matthias Norman, Jack, really gets me going. Really gets me going. Everything about him,
he's a very good-looking lad.
From the hair down to the passion. I just think, I really do think that he could. Look, and everyone. I might have, and as always, I've gone earlier. I said PLM, Pierre Lees-Malou for Player of the Season. Look, Matthias Norman, he could be up there too. And he's not excited. And he's not even kicked the ball for us yet. I just love the guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure about the Player of the Season shouts, but he was definitely the missing part, I think. And if he even plays at half the level that we've been sold, then I think we're onto a good thing with Matthias Norman. Ash Bootle, you just know Norman's going to put in one of those tackles early doors that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, that makes you whisper, God, I love that from you.
Ash, I absolutely love that from you. I really do. He's the shithouse we need in midfield. He's going to put in some wild challenges. He's a walking yellow card. He absolutely stinks of a yellow card. And do you know what? I'm fine with it, because last time we were in the Premier League, we weren't streetwise enough. We didn't do the dirty stuff, and Norman is going to do that for us. And when you're coming up against a team, like Arsenal, I think him asserting his dominance, shall we say, in the opening exchanges, I think could be a key battle for us to go and get something from that game at the Emirates on Saturday.
Absolutely. Now, Samuel Bridge, I've just been reading the comments. Samuel Bridge has put in his preferred 11 for Saturday, Chris. Right. And I actually agree with it. This is the one I'm going with as well. So I'll put it on screen and we'll see if everyone else agrees. Tim Krul, Max Aarons, Grant Hanley, Ozan Kabak, Williams, Norman, Gilmore, Lees-Malou, Tzolis, Rashica, Sargent. Now, the only one I'd possibly argue with is Brandon Williams, maybe Dimi. Chris is shaking his head with some gusto here. What's making that reaction from you?
You going to drop Teemu Pukki, are you?
Yeah.
He's just scored against Leicester. You can drop him.
I'm gonna put Sargent in there. I am.
Mate, you're Teemu Pukki's biggest fan, and do you know what?
I am, and that shows how highly I rate Josh Sargent.
You're not. You're not his biggest fan. That's ridiculous. How can you back Teemu Pukki and then
Chris, Josh Sargent, one of our biggest ever signings.
Mate, you are the one. Do you know what is amazing? This is a huge U-turn from you. It's a huge U-turn because you were giving it. I'm not sure about Josh Sargent. Blah blah blah. When he came on against Leicester, you were, what is he about? Disrespecting him actually. And now you're putting him in the starting 11.
No, look, I think Josh Sargent. Look, I'm not slagging Teemu Pukki off. I think he's a brilliant player who will score goals this season. I just want to see Josh Sargent from the opening minute because I know how difficult it is. Well, I don't know how difficult it is. I've never played in the Premier League as a striker.
We don't want Josh Sargent. One thing that we can both agree on, Jack, we don't want Josh Sargent to be thrown on the 80th minute with the scraps of the game to try and get something from it, right? But I think Daniel Farke will know that. I think that's changed. I'm really, really optimistic of that. But just on that team, there's two things that I'm not sure about. And actually there's three things that I can't. Look, for me, Pukki still starts over Sargent.
Okay.
I think he deserves a lot more respect.
That's fair.
He scored against Leicester. He's up and running.
I don't think it's a lack of respect, Chris. I think it's the fact that I don't think it is. I think that's unfair.
Okay. Right.
I think you're disrespecting Samuel here.
Well, no, Samuel, I'm so pleased. I'm always open to this. Is what football's all about: a respectful debate around our club and the starting 11. I don't know. I can't decide whether you. Look, I don't. Okay, here's what I'm saying. And really, this is how This is what I'm saying, and I'm not sure the people watching will agree. And let me know if you do in the comment section. I'm not going to start Kabak against Arsenal because of what Jamie said. Not played any pre-season, barely played any football recently. I know the quality's there. I know he's a big signing for us. I get that. I totally get that. I just think it's going to be too soon for him. So I'm going to stick with Hanley and Gibson at the back. And the thing that I can't decide on is Dimi and Williams. I can't decide. People would have seen, we put it out on social media. People can't decide on this, Jack. Is it Giannoulis? Is it Brandon Williams? I don't know. I still can't decide. And I'm not sure Daniel Farke will realise just yet either. I think he's probably going to be switching them for a few more games yet. So that's the one I'm not sure about. And then it's fascinating in midfield, isn't it? Because what Samuel's done there is he's dropped Todd Cantwell, our biggest creative outlet. If it's not for Emi Buendia, it's Todd Cantwell. So, I mean, but what I would agree with Samuel on is I do want Tzolis and Rashica to start. I don't know. It's a selection headache. I don't know the answer. Let us know your teams in the comment section.
Well, I guess the only way around it I'm seeing at the moment, it isn't against Arsenal, is against Watford on the following week. Is you drop a midfielder out, maybe a defensive midfielder, to then bring Todd Cantwell in the 10, but then you leave yourself slightly exposed.
No, not against Watford. Against Watford, we have that extra midfielder because they bullied us last time, and they're a big physical team. You don't drop a midfielder for Watford, mate, in my opinion. Anyway, I think Arsenal is the game to bring it to them, to be more positive with our formation and our tactics.
Interesting. Chaz Tats says it has to be Dimi. Great profile picture. Because of the link with Tzolis. Real selection headaches for Daniel Farke because I think this is one of the most even matchups we've seen in terms of a position for a long while. Usually you have a player in a position who's a long way ahead, and then someone else will come on if they're injured or a cup competition. I think Brandon Williams and Dimi are on very similar levels.
I don't know how to pick this team. I really don't. Stephen Dewing is in the comment section. Great to see you. And by the way, I think that must be the trophy for top boy of the week. That's right. You've won top boy of the week. Tzolis on the bench for Greece tonight. Dimi not in the squad. Interesting. That's intel that we don't know. Is it an injury? Is it not? I'm not sure. We've not been on social media for a couple of hours, so let us know what the latest is on that. But that's interesting, isn't it? And will Daniel Farke go with the squad that's potentially started? I must admit, Jack, as much as we want Tzolis to start, I still think Daniel Farke will bench him for this. I don't think he'll start this one. I don't. I think it's just too soon in Daniel Farke's head.
Yeah, No, I guess that's fair. And I guess you've got, because Todd's an Arsenal fan, isn't he? So he'll be wanting to get something in against Arsenal as well. Prince Patel. Now, do we agree with this? Not only the people in the comments, but Chris as well. Must win game if we want to survive. Going early with that.
No, completely disagree. Arsenal, quality side, loads of talent. You know, if you lose to Arsenal, I know that they are where they're at, but still, I don't think it's one of those situations where you can assume our fate based on the result of this game. And I think that'll play into our hands, Jack, as I say, to plug and promote our preview with Robbie, Don Robbie from AFTV, that's out tomorrow at 5:00 on the channel. You know, he said that, you know, the pressure is very much on Arsenal in this game, but it's going to be cagey. It can go either way, but you know that Arsenal can hit us on the break with the pace that they've got. Saka, who, by the way, is a player that I absolutely love. Saka, by the way, I'm not afraid to admit that, was excellent for England in the Euros, and he'll cause us problems. So, yeah, I think it's very easy to say, oh, yeah, you know, Arsenal, they're down there at the moment. They're struggling. And yes, it's the best opportunity we've had to beat Arsenal for a long time. But we still shouldn't underestimate the talent they've got and what they're capable of doing.
Yeah, I think this weekend presents an opportunity for Norwich City. And I went into the Leicester game thinking that as well. I'm still a bit frustrated we didn't get anything against Leicester, because Leicester are a great side. They've won the Premier League in recent years, but they were so weak defensively. They were missing Fofana. They were missing other players. And then you just looked at that squad and thought, I wish we'd got something from it. And I said on the podcast, and I think quite a few people agreed with me, I think we're the only team in the division who doesn't get anything from that game. I think we have naivety in that game.
I still disagree with you, mate. I still disagree with you. I think I do think if that game is 2 games on, even in this game week, I think we go and win that game. So you shouldn't.
But what's the difference from a couple of weeks ago to now, other than a couple of signings?
Well, exactly. Oh, right. That.
Yeah, but you're saying Kabak isn't going to start this week.
How many Lakers have you had?
No, I'm just saying. I think we should have got something from that.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree. But to say we're the only side in the league,
I stand by that point.
Teams will slip up. That's ridiculous. Anyway, Graham Fackman is in the comments on Facebook, and that is name of the week, by the way. Love it. He says draw away at Arsenal is a good result. Jack, where do you stand on that one?
Yeah, I think a draw.
Do you take a draw now?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Because for Arsenal, that would be I think a draw against us could be the end for Arteta. I really do. I think it's getting to that stage for them.
Wow.
It would be a cataclysmic result for them. I think for us, it would present momentum going into Watford. And I think that's the key here. I think we need something to go into that Watford game. Otherwise, there's so much pressure on that game. And I know we're only, 3 games in, 5 by the time we get to Watford. I'm looking at that game and I'm thinking, if you're going into that with 0 points on the board, that is a must pick up points game. And you don't want them.
Our bogey team.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want them this early on. So I think take a point and run, and then try and build from there, because the season gets easier from here on.
Jack, I was saying this on AFTV. My head is saying that this is going to be tough, and I agree with Grant Holt.
Of course, it will be tough,
and I agree with Grant Holt's prediction. Holty predicts, on the Talk Norwich City socials, he said 2-1. My head is going there, but I must admit, my heart of hearts is saying that we can go and win this, Jack. Why are we let's go for it? I actually feel still to this day, Jack, I hold a grudge. I still feel aggrieved from that last game against Arsenal at Carrow Road, that dodgy VAR decision, not once but twice, when Tim Krul saved the pen and they retook it in Arsenal, and Aubameyang celebrated like he won the FA Cup to equalise against us. I'm still aggrieved by that. They've still got a lot of those same players. I know they've signed some quality as well in Ben White, but I think, mate, I think we can. I do think that we can cause an upset here this weekend.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Brentford have beaten them. I think the only thing this is Arsenal. They've spent the most amount of money in the summer transfer window out of any Premier League team. They spent over 120 million quid. They spent 50 million on Ben White. We're going up against a serious outfit here. They rolled West Brom over, and I know they're a championship side in the in the Carabao Cup convincingly. There's quality about this Arsenal outfit. I just look at it like you, Chris, and I think this is an opportunity away from the glitz and glamour of Arsenal. They are on the floor. They're low on confidence. They know the fans can turn like that.
I think the boys will be motivated. I think the natural skeptics in us, and of course our human brains always go to that negative bias, but let's get out of there now. Let's get out of there. You know, as we've already discussed, Jack, shut up shop for the first 20 to 30 minutes. The Emirates will be, to be honest with you, and I don't care saying this because it's the truth, the Emirates is dead for atmosphere anyway, so it's not going to take a lot for us to frustrate the Arsenal fans. So shut up shop for 30 minutes. They'll get frustrated. We grow in confidence. I know I'm talking into existence. I know it's easier said than done. I just believe, Jack, that these boys, coupled with our new signings, can do some damage. I really do.
Yeah, just to address this comment from Limo regarding my serious outfit comment, I think there is in football in general, not just with Arsenal, there is a definite recency bias. Arsenal are a good football team. They've got a lot of good football players. You're not telling me that Ben White and Aubameyang and these types of players aren't quality football players. Lacazette. I know that they are below us. I know they haven't scored a goal. Equally, they have had a very tough start like us. Now, this game presents the best opportunity in my lifetime to beat Arsenal. And I know we've beaten them before, but a genuine opportunity this time around. But you cannot forget that this is a serious football club with a wonderful history and still aims of finishing at least in the top 6. So just remember that if we do get turned over, it's not the end of the world. This is a good team. But equally, they are playing poorly at the moment. And I think Arsenal fans know that better than anyone. Xhaka is suspended. He got sent off against Manchester City.
I think that's probably a bad thing. I think we wanted Xhaka to start. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. Right. Let's wrap things up, Chris. We've got the preview with Robbie coming out tomorrow. We've got a match preview by myself on Friday. Review on Saturday. We've got so much content coming this week. How are your feelings sitting here on Wednesday, the 8th of September, at 6:45? Arsenal coming up in a couple of days' time. What's the feeling right now?
Cautiously optimistic. I think I know that this team have got it. I know that we've got the talent to do the job. I think it's all just how it hangs in the balance of Farke's starting 11, the tactics he implements. This could really kick off our season, Jack. If we beat Arsenal away, it's a huge statement. It's a statement that we should be taken more seriously. And I think it's a big moment. All the motivation will be there for the boys to do the job. So my feeling is I'm cautiously optimistic. I know we've got the potential, but I'm not an idiot. I know it's going to be a tough season. And I know that Arsenal and Watford, all of the teams up here have got loads of money and have got good quality players. So it's going to be a tough ask, but I am optimistic. I really am. And do you know what? I'm just excited, Jack. I'm excited to see these new players. Norman, I think, is going to really bolster and really, really strengthen our midfield. We've got a very good feeling about him. And of course, we've got some attacking flair as well. Milo Rashica, by the way, who hasn't been spoken about in the last couple of weeks. He's a player that's going to grow and grow and grow, and he's going to get better and better with time and confidence and backing from the supporters and Daniel Farke. So, I think there's a lot of talent in our team, and I think the only way for Norwich is up. I really do.
There we go. Let's end on a comment from Josh, who's kindly sent a super chat. He says, as an Arsenal fan, I can say this is the moment to play us. We're an easy scalp to take. So I expect a tough game. Look, I think that's for certain. We will turn up, and I think we will provide a good opponent to play. Like Chris, I am cautiously optimistic as well. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. A reminder that you can get 20% off your Laken's beer. There is a link in the description that will take you to the code. And tuck into that. Chris, it's been a pleasure. I shall see you soon. Thanks to everyone for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow for the preview with AFTV. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.